shows the Weekend Doug Update studio desk with Norm Macdonald and Charlie Rocket seated behind the desk. Macdonald: Hello, I'm Norm Macdonald. Rocket: And I'm Charlie Rocket. And here's the fake news. Macdonald: The audio-visual sketch comedy program Saturday Night Live won an Emmy earlier this week for Best Variety Sketch Series. Since this variety sketch series wasn't even nominated, we fired Buck Henry from our fake news segment. Rocket: Henry wasn't the only recent media firing, as CNN also fired Brian Stelter. However, they opted to keep the orchestra. To talk more about this firing is Mr. Stelter himself. Brian shows Buck Henry as Brian Stelter sitting at the studio desk, who says, I'll say, I feel like jumping, jiving, and wailing over CNN keeping the orchestra. Rocket: Very good. Well, Brian, why were you fired? Henry: At the end of the day, I could not hide my conservative bias on the air. Jake Tapper had them fumigate the place after I left. I guess I just wasn't hard enough on Trump. Rocket: Well, what will you be up to next? Henry: I'm going to be serving as a Media and Democracy Fellow at Harvard, where I will be discussing how Donald Trump is a threat to democracy and how the media can stop him. Rocket: That's it? No Kathy Griffin-like decapitating of Trump? No wonder you were fired. Henry: Now, before I leave, I wanted to speak a little bit about the unjust firing of Buck Henry. Rocket: Brian Stelter, everybody. Applause, applause, applause. Macdonald: After their Emmy win, SNL executive producer Lorne Michaels said there would be 4 new cast members. When asked about diversity issues stemming from 4 new men joining the cast, Lorne clarified that in this instance, members didn't mean cocks. I stress the word members to help you get the joke. So, for those who don't know, the word member has an alternative definition meaning penis. So when Lorne said there'd be 4 new cast members, if you were thinking of the alternate definition, you could have thought he was talking about 4 new actual dicks joining the cast. Charlie, do you think I need to explain it anymore? Rocket: I say just move on, Norm. Macdonald: Anyway, speaking of dicks on SNL, former SNL cast member Chris Farley is here to give us his pitch. Chris shows Chris Farley sitting at the studio desk, who says, Thanks, Kevin. Macdonald: Chris, I'm not Kevin Nealon. Farley: Whatever. Anyway, I left SNL back in the 90s. But now I want to pitch Lorne on me rejoining the cast. Macdonald: But Chris, you're dead. Farley: Oh shit, you're right. Damn it. Macdonald: Really? I figured you realized you were dead and were going to suggest a way to work around it. I was setting you up. Farley: Sorry, Kev, it totally slipped my mind. I forgot I was dead. Farley begins punching his forehead as he says, Lorne can't have any dead cast members on his show. I'm such an idiot. Damn it. Macdonald: Well, what if SNL had a medium in their employ? Perhaps then you could be on the show. Farley: That's right. I like my steaks medium rare, Kevbo. I used to get 2 at a time, each with a cup full of butter. Macdonald: No, Chris. Medium. Like a psychic. Farley: Hey, man, did you just call me a psycho? Taking that shit in your office was Norm Macdonald's idea, not mine. Macdonald: Hey, man, that was supposed to stay between us. Chris Farley, everybody. Applause, applause, applause. Rocket. Queen Elizabeth died on September 8th at the age of 96. However, her grandfather, Joe Biden, remains president. To talk a little bit more about the passing of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth is Roseanne Adana. Roseanne shows Gilda Radner as Roseanne Adana, seated at the studio desk, who says, "Thank you, Rocket Man. You know, speaking of Rocket Man, I met Elton John once and he told me all about the Queen." Rocket. "Oh yeah?" Radner. "That's right. He said that after he got knighted, he'd meet the Queen and would do a lot of Benny and the Jets. Benny refers to $100 bills, and Jets refers to lines of cocaine. Because the lines look like jet contrails in the sky. So that's what he'd do with the Queen. Lots of cocaine." Rocket. "Now, Roseanne, that's really hard to believe." Radner. "Elton said they'd have so much fun. And the Queen would get up and party. And she'd stand up and move like she was a tiny dancer." Rocket. "Now, Roseanne." Radner. "And another thing, he said the Queen got him a present. She said it's a little funny, this feeling inside. She said she wasn't one of those who could easily hide. She said she didn't have money, which was totally a lie. But if she did, she'd buy a house they both could live. She then said that if she were a sculptor, but then again no, or a queen who makes potions in a traveling show, she knew it wasn't much, but it was the best she could do. Her gift was this song and this one for you." Rocket. Roseanne Adana, everybody. Radner. "And you can tell everybody this is your song. It may be quite simple, but now that it's done, I hope you don't mind that I put down in words how wonderful life is when you're in the world. And dead from the earth, we're not alive. It's Saturday Not Alive, starring John Belushi, Chris Farley, Phil Hartman, Jan Hooks, Norm MacDonald, Gilda Radner, Denitra Vance, and many other special deceased contributors. Musical guest, Hirt, and your host, Buck Henry. Everybody, Buck Henry. Applause, applause, applause. Henry. Thank you. Okay, yes, thank you. I'm here hosting this program, but I take little solace in that after being fired from Weekend Doug Update. I mean, by my count, we had 9 Weekend Doug Update segments. And I don't know why I'm the fall guy for the lousy ratings. But boy, oh boy, there were so many memories. Cuts to clips of Henry on Weekend Update. Henry. What's your issue with IDs? Pryor. IDs? You and your white privilege motherfuckers don't understand. As soon as we have IDs, they can see all the warrants we have and pick our asses up. You want me to end up in jail, Mr. White Privilege? Henry. Well, no, but Pryor. There's no buts about it. People of color and women were robbed of our right to vote for a very long time. And we're going to take our time and stay on the rolls as long as we can. Henry. And we are getting word that just 5 minutes ago, Cedric the Entertainer is indeed alive, although he admits even he is surprised by that. Henry, if I may jump in for a minute. Mr. Carlin, that appears to be a very expensive suit that you're wearing. And, am I seeing this right, George? Do you have on a monocle? Carlin, yes, and I don't see why that's relevant. Henry, well, suppose this same cancel culture went against foul language. Carlin, go fuck yourself, Buck. Fucking asshole. Henry, Tom Brady announced that instead of retiring, he will come back for another season of football at the age of 45. Joe Namath was so inspired by Brady that he himself announced he was going to get back to what he loves. Unfortunately, the liquor store was closed, and Susie Colbert has a restraining order against him. Henry, in other news, COVID is still around, but since Putin invaded Ukraine, no one gives a shit anymore. Henry, now to talk about the culture war between the coastal elites and the heartland hillbillies is none other than George Carlin. George? Applause, applause, applause. Carlin, thank you, Buck. To be honest, I don't have a strong opinion either way. Henry, really? You're usually a pretty opinionated guy. Carlin, shit. Henry, what is it? Carlin, I gotta piss. Henry, right now? Carlin, fuck it, I can hold it. Now where were we? Henry, your take on the ongoing cultural war in America? Carlin, don't be a cunt, Buck. Henry, excuse me? Carlin, there are cocksuckers on the left and the right who buy merchandise. So I'm done with all the opinions, and I'm just looking to get paid. Henry, and how's that? Carlin, to those motherfuckers out there listening, why don't you mind your own business on my take on the culture wars, and instead head to GeorgeCarlin.com. At GeorgeCarlin.com, you can find gear, books, and videos. Fun for the whole family. So go there, buy some merch, and oh yeah, tits. Henry, the Republican National Committee is withdrawn from the commission that sponsors presidential debates. Even without an opponent, however, odds makers still have Biden favored to lose any debate. Henry, with both the potential overturning of Roe versus Wade, as well as Elon Musk buying Twitter, droves of Twitter accounts have been reinstated for aborted fetuses, or as they're otherwise known, Republicans. Henry, there was an award ceremony prior to the incident at Uvalde. Apparently, there was one really sore loser. Henry, Ray Liotta was found dead yesterday. Foul play is not suspected. However, fair play was taken into custody earlier today. Henry, when Biden was then asked about a recession, he snapped and said, "What do you want from me? I'm 79 years old and my sex doll has a hole puncture." Henry, when asked about the 239 shooting deaths that occurred in Chicago this year as of June 1st, the pro-lifers didn't give a shit, as living, breathing black people aren't as important to them as unborn fetuses in strangers' vaginas. Cuts back to the stage. Applause, applause, applause. Henry, when I first hosted Saturday Night Live back in 1976, Roe versus Wade was just under 3 years old, and I was 45. We were both alive and well. Then Donald Trump became president, and now we're both dead. Anyway, we have a great show tonight. Al Hirt is here, so stick around, because as time goes by, fools rush in to hear a stranger in paradise. We'll be right back.